What's up, boys? We're taking a look at some more NBA player props today over on prizepicks. This video applies to prizepicks, but also other player prop websites out there and also sports books out there. So let's go ahead and hop in. We're currently on a 17-8 run, so it's a fine run. We're not able to cash both of the plays yesterday, though. Vucevic went over his rebounds pretty clearly. Giannis, unfortunately, fell short of his PRA. Not too much to say about that one. He just was not on his game as much as he has been in the past. Had some heartbreakers yesterday with some foul trouble, just terrible shooting. Schroeder, he fell one basket short of his 15.5 points for me, and he shot 3 for 13, so that really did hurt. But we are bouncing back today. Let's get it done here. So 4-2 run, 17-8 run. Those are the current runs that we are on. Let's hop in though. So if you're not on prizepicks though, there's a couple different reasons why I recommend joining. First off, there's a tons of sports, tons of different props to choose from. The link is down in my description below. It's available in most states and most of Canada. You have to be 18 years and older. And actually, SGA is at 25.5 points right now for the next 2 hours here over on prizepicks. So if you want to go ahead and claim that, link is down in my description below. You guys can go ahead and sign up and get that first time deposit match up to $100. So 100% deposit match up to $100 using my code DOMG. Just download the app off the App Store or use the link down in my description below and make sure to use that code. You guys can get that 100% deposit match. So here we go. Let's go ahead and hop in though to the slate. I'll talk more about SGA and if I like this taco a little bit later. Usually, if you guys don't know, by the way, on prizepicks, they have these Taco Tuesday discounts where we usually have about 3 players depending on the sport and all that different stuff that will end up getting discounted. So like right now we have SGA bumped down to 25.5. We could potentially see I don't even know, probably one of the late games today. Maybe we get Kawhi Leonard bumped down. Make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road now to 10,000 subscribers, which is seriously insane. Genuinely, I do appreciate you guys, so make sure leave a like on the video and subscribe. And let's go ahead and hop in. But final thing here, let's take a look at the Patreon where we have over 600 members. If you are interested in seeing every single one of my plays, check out the Patreon. The link is down in the description below. There are 3 different tiers. There's NFL, NBA, and all sports. With access to the Patreon, you guys get every single play that I play on top of these plays being ranked by confidence level and write-ups to go with every single prop that I post. Once again, the link is down in the description below, so check it out. So you'll be able to get all of my plays for tonight and everything like that. Again, we have over 600 members in there, so genuinely, I appreciate you guys. But let's go ahead and hop in and talk about the slate for today. So technically 3 plays. Let's dive in. So as I went to record, both of my plays actually ended up getting bumped. However, I do have some alternatives, so let's hop in. First off here, let's go to the Rebounds tab here. We're going to scroll down just a little bit. Actually, we don't have to scroll that far. It is right around here. I like Jarrett Allen over 9.5 rebounds. Now, what I actually liked originally was Jarrett Allen over his 22.5 points plus rebounds. Patreon members should have been able to get in, but it got bumped shortly after, unfortunately. Again, both my plays got bumped today. It definitely sucks, but I do like his 9.5 rebounds as an alternative, and I also like his 30.5 fantasy score as an alternative. However, if you are in a sports book, I prefer his 22.5 points plus rebounds. Let's take a look at what he's at on the sports books here before we dive in any further, but make sure you tailor your own risk and look at these a little bit more on your own. Always do your own research. Don't go directly just off of what I say. This is just what I'm playing today, and I'm sharing what I'm playing. But his points plus rebounds here, let's take a look at what this is at real quick. So generally, he's at 23.5 on most sites right there, but he is at a minus 140 at 22.5 on DK. So it's up to you if you obviously want to play the minus 108 at 23.5. But I also like his rebounds. It's about a minus 130, I believe, his rebounds. We actually check that real quick. We'll take a look at Jarrett Allen's rebounds right here for you sportsbooks guys out there. And this can also help you if you're on prizepicks as well, taking a look at the odds. But Jarrett Allen here, minus 130, pretty much across the board to go over his 9.5 rebounds right there. So not a terrible look there either. I'm just liking a lot of Jarrett Allen today. I know a lot of people are actually on Donovan Mitchell today, but I actually think I like Jarrett Allen a lot more than Mitchell today. However, I think both can go off, man. But I just like a lot of anything kind of referring to rebounds, I think, for Jarrett Allen in this one. We'll be on the road going to Utah in this one right here. So Utah's missing quite a few players. Missing THT. They're also missing Kelly Olynyk and then also Colin Sexton in this one. So anyways, he's going to be again on the road, and this should be a pretty damn good matchup for him. Let's take a look at this. So he's going to be a center, and he is going up against the Jazz. So let's take a look at how the Jazz really are when it comes to the points, and they're allowing the most points per game to the center so far this season. You take a look at the rebounds, they're allowing the third most rebounds per game to the center right there. Take a look at the last 7 games right here. You can see where Utah is at. They're on the 4th most points per game to the center. Take a look at the rebounds. They're actually allowing, what is that, the 7th most? most rebounds per game in the last 7 games right there to the center. So still a very, very good matchup, even in the last 7 games. Just Utah's been getting constantly destroyed. Take a look at the fantasy score per game that is allowed to the center. Around the 2nd most fantasy score per game. So I just love a lot of Jarrett Allen. I don't really care what it is, man. Anything that refers to rebounds, I don't mind his points at 12.5 either. But I prefer the 22.5 points plus rebounds. I think what I'm going to play is actually his fantasy score at 30.5. If I put him in more entries, I think I'm going to go with the fantasy score. He's hit this in 6 out of his last 10 games. If you take a look at his fantasy score, so he actually missed this by 0.2 right there. If he had 0.2 more points, he actually would have gone over this for his 7th time in his last 10 games. Otherwise, he's been over this in quite a few games. Went over it twice against the Bulls. He did go under against Toronto and against Brooklyn. And again, he did go under in that game against Denver right there against Jokic. But I do think he's got a pretty damn good spot here against Utah, even with them missing Kelly. I think this should be a pretty good spot for Jarrett Allen to get his fantasy score done, to get his points plus rebounds done, maybe even a PRA if you want to play that. Yeah, I just love a lot of Jarrett Allen today against this pretty weak Utah Jazz team. So Jarrett Allen is definitely one of my, if not my top play today, because my second play ended up getting bumped. However, I'm still going to take a look at him after the bump right here. So I originally liked this player over his points until it got bumped. And I liked Kawhi Leonard over 25.5 points, but he actually got moved to 26.5. So there has only been one game this season where he's landed on 26, which is actually just recently against Boston. But the reason he's only hit this in one out of his last 4 games is, one out of his last 5 games is because Paul George is out in this one. Paul George is going to be out in this one. He was without Paul George last game, and he actually dropped 29 on Atlanta. He faces Dallas today, who should not be a very, very tough matchup. Kind of like the matchup right here for him. Luka's questionable. I assume Luka will play, but who knows with that one right there. There's also going to be Luke Kennard here for the Clippers, but he will be at home against Dallas at 10:30 time. So the latest game tonight is a 1-point spread and a 221.5 over under. I don't know who else is going to shoot the ball for the Clippers if it's not Kawhi. Kawhi should have those attempts. If these attempts go anywhere else, I would be very, very surprised. Maybe we see another huge game from Zubac. I mean, we'll see how that ends up going. But, Kawhi Leonard here without Paul George. This season, he's been over in 2 out of 3. In the one game where he missed, he only had 23 minutes with 8 points. He shot 4 for 11, too. He just shot really, really crappy. He just didn't have the minutes at all. And that was also right when he came back from his original injury, I believe. That was one of his first games this season. But bouncing back from that, he's had 32 and 38 minutes with 31 and 29 points. And Washington's not a very, very easy matchup. So Washington, I don't believe is a very easy matchup, and he still did pretty solid, even not even shooting 50%. He shot 46% and still went over. He went against Atlanta, shot 39% and he still went over. He's just had those 20 plus field goal attempts without Paul George. He should be the #1 guy that is taking those attempts tonight for the Clippers. So I like Kawhi Leonard in this one. I think he should have those attempts, and they should be there in this one, because when he takes those attempts, man, like he had 19 attempts with Paul George against the 76ers right there and had 28 points. So if those attempts are there, I think he can get this one done. And I'd be surprised if the attempts were there. I don't think Mann and Batum are going to take too many attempts for them. Maybe Marcus Morris shoots a little bit. Maybe Zubac shoots a little bit, man. But I think Kawhi Leonard has to be the #1 guy for them tonight. But this matchup also should not be too tough here against Dallas right here. Dallas is kind of right in the middle of the pack, allowing 22.66 points per game to the small forward this season. If you take a look at the last 7 games right here and where Dallas is at, they're still kind of right in the middle of the pack. 22.22 points per game allowed to the small forward in the last 7 games. So I think Kawhi can get this one done. I'd be surprised if there's another guy shooting as much as Kawhi does tonight. And for the final play here, let's take a look and talk about SGA just a little bit. Because those other plays got bumped, I was looking for some more plays, but I'm just taking those players after the bumps right there. But SGA at 25.5 points. Let's talk about this one just a little bit. It is not my favorite. I would have preferred maybe some Josh Giddey PRA. If you were able to take a look at the vote for the Taco Tuesday that they had over on Twitter, we actually got to vote between 4 different options. I voted for Josh Giddey, did not even come close. But SGA 25.5 points. I don't think it is a terrible option. I like SGA. I did play him, but although I have a higher unit size, so I was going to play him anyway. I usually play all the Tacos most of the time, but Tacos went 3 for 3 last week, by the way. Sometimes they're hit or miss, but last week they were 3 for 3. But SGA over 25.5 here. He's going against a Heat team that has pretty much nobody but Jimmy Butler in this one. So he's going to be guarded by Victor Oladipo, it seems like, or Max Stress. I don't know. We'll see who ends up guarding SGA today, but it's a 2.5 point spread right there, 223 over under, so nothing too crazy there. This game hopefully should not blow out. I'd be very shocked if the Heat blew him out, and I'd also be surprised if the Thunder blew him out. But I think the Thunder just blew out the Celtics the other day. I think that was what that game was, but We'll see. Hopefully there's no blood in this one, but I think SGA should be able to get this one done here against the Heat right here. If you take a look, the Heat are pretty solid against a point guard. However, again, they're missing like Lowry, they're missing Hero in this one. They're missing a lot of guys in this one right here. And he is actually at 30.5 on the books, I believe. Yet he's at 25.5 on prizepicks, also 29.5 if you want to take his full game. Where's this game? There it is, Thunder in the Heat game. So take a look at where he's at on the sports books right now. So SGA, he's at 30.5 across the board. So he's at 30.5 across the board. Even favored to go over on FanDuel. He's minus 125. Yet again, he's at 25.5 over on prizepicks and 29.5 even if you want to take his full game rather than just taking the $25 limit on SGA. Completely up to you, of course, but SGA game log right here, you can see how many times he's been over this. He's been over this in 83% of games this season, so 83%. He had 27 last time he faced the Heat as well. If we go ahead and type in on Statmuse, his game log versus the Heat right here, he had 27 last time he faced them, and also the game before that as well, he had 26 points. So the other game right there, he shot 18% on only 11 attempts. So yeah, I don't know. I think he can get this one done here, especially with a banged up Heat team. But, you know, tacos, they're cursed some days. Sometimes they hit. It really just depends on how the tacos are cooked today. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, though. Make sure you guys tilt and risk. Look into these more on your own. The prizepicks link is down in my description below. The Patreon link is down in my description below if you want to see everything that I am playing tonight. And that is pretty much going to do it. Best of luck tonight, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, boys.